Welcome back to the Tampa Bay Rowdies podcast. This is episode 3. We are back in studio, and this is the most exciting episode that we've had so far because it is officially a home game. We have a home game this weekend at Outland Stadium versus the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, last year's champions. So fans of the Rowdies, people who want to get interested in the Rowdies, come on down to Outland Stadium. It is the first real big test for the team, but really it's the first chance that fans are getting to watch this team live in a regular season game. We are joined again by Seth. Welcome back to the studio, my friend. What do you got for us?
Thank you. Well, first I had my request that I just put in for 17 tickets, so hopefully you'll be able to accommodate.
17 might be tough.
We'll see that. Okay, well, 10 maybe. What can people expect that haven't been out to a game before that are coming for the first time? What time do gates open? Is there anything for little rugrats where you can go have them do stuff while you hang out with the adult friends? What can we expect going out there?
Yeah, so gates open at 6:30, so it's an hour before kickoff. Kickoff is at 7:30, of course. Like, it might be a little 5 minutes late or something because that's what all sporting events do. But there's a tailgate in the parking lot beforehand, which happens pretty much every single home game. But this time, there's going to be a fan experience out there for the kids, for the adults. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff going on. They're going to do, some of the more diehard fans are going to do a march to the stadium, which should be fun. Hopefully the numbers grow for that. I don't know all the details for that, but I'm sure that you can find those online.
Are you a part of that, or do you have other Oh, you do color.
I'm in the booth.
Yeah,
I'm in the booth.
You don't have time for all the marching.
No, so I'm in the booth this year, so I'll be doing the color work. But I am a little bit bummed that I'm going to be missing out on like the in-stadium fun and like running around and getting to interact with all those people. But I do like to do the work in the booth, so I'll be in the booth this year. But 6:30 gates open. Try to get there early because I know that especially for home games, like for players, the more that the atmosphere can build in warm-ups and the more that, more people are getting there, the louder that it gets and the louder it is for the walkouts and things like that. I mean, that only energizes the players and gets everybody fired up. So if you can get there early, try to get down there early.
Yeah, they got to feel the energy. Jeff, I want to know, obviously, working for the Rowdies now, you being a player, are you more nervous now in this role for the home opener than when you were actually playing?
In certain ways, you know what I mean? Like in certain ways, it's like, you want to make sure that, because now I'm on all the meetings of.
You're worried about everything now.
Yeah. So like now I'm on all the meetings of like, the game day operations, like all the things that need to go right, like all the things that could go wrong. And so it's like my eyes are tuned into stuff that are a little bit differently. So it's nerves, but it's a different type of nerves. But because I get to be in the booth doing the color analyst work, like I love doing that. So like my job on game days is doing something that I really love. But I do know that I'm going to have a watchful eye out for a lot of different things in the stadium going on, just because I know so many people are working hard on making sure that this goes really smoothly.
So on the field this week, for people, again, that are new, like we had a great interview last week with Marco. We're going to have another great interview today. Who are some players that people should look out for immediately when they go out to the game on Saturday?
Yeah, so I mean, defensively, we've done very well. We've talked about Deon Akoff in this podcast before. Like he's somebody that people are going to get really excited about. Jahmali, he's the goalkeeper. We'll be interviewing him today. He's a big deal. He's a big signing for us. And then, there's other players as well. We spoke on Marco. We spoke on Russell Cicerone, players like that. So, I think that there's going to be a lot of players out there that the fans are going to really enjoy. Max Schneider, he was named Team of the Week for Week 1, defensive center midfielder. He's somebody that likes to get stuck in. So, there's a lot of new faces. There's a lot of new players. But if you're able to watch Week 1, you kind of saw what the team is capable of doing in terms of fight. And now that they're at home, I think that you're going to see a little bit more of what they're capable of doing with the ball, a little bit more skillful. Because when, teams play at home, they want to be more on the attacking front. So I think we're going to get a good look at that, and there's going to be some players that emerge as fan favorites.
So we're going to talk to Jahmali about this, but I'm curious. After the game this week, he's leaving immediately to go with Team Jamaica. Is that right?
Yeah, so he's going. They're still trying to qualify for the World Cup, and it's pretty cool to have a player on the Rowdies that's going to get to be on this stage. So he's slated to go be with Jamaica for the week, and then so it's kind of like he gets to do the home opener and then gets to go off with his national team. So it's pretty cool for him.
So can I just bring up kind of what was going on with the World Baseball Classic and Tariq Skubal, because he was with USA and then he went back to Detroit to be there for the season opener. He also is going to be up for a big contract next year. And, man, he was wearing the hockey jersey last night, and, boy, Twitter was not kind to him at all. I mean, they think that the guy is a traitor all of a sudden. I know in soccer it's different, but what's the balance from your knowledge of, representing your club and representing your country?
So I know in soccer, right, I've had the privilege of being on some teams where people used to get called into the U.S. squad or, like, different countries around the world. And with soccer, the club has to approve it. But it's almost one of those things where it's like if the club doesn't approve you going to play for the national team,
you don't want to play for them, right?
The player's going to look at the club and be like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, because in soccer, and just like it is in every other sport, but, soccer, when there's international games, when there's these tournaments and stuff, it goes a very long way to represent your country. So there's not many clubs that I've ever heard of saying no, unless it has to do with a player who might be injured and they don't want him to go because he might get injured because obviously he's contractually obligated to the club team. But usually more times than not, unless there's something to do behind the scenes. Like if a country calls and says, hey, we're going to call on this player, the club's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, go represent the club, go represent your country. Because that's, I mean, at the end of the day, professional athletes, like, that's everybody's dream.
I hope they would let him go. So there was another thing that I wanted to ask you as far as, is there a new USA, a team was announced for soccer, right? And did some uniforms drop? What's going on in that world?
Yeah, so it's time to start getting fired up for the World Cup. It's time to start getting a little bit more invested and a little bit more involved. U.S. called in their team for the CONCACAF Nations Cup, which is like a glorified another tournament for CONCACAF. CONCACAF is all the teams in this region. I think that they play Panama in the semifinals. That might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So they're going to play Panama in this tournament in the semifinals, and then, if they win that game, they'll be in the finals, and then you get to claim that you're the best team in CONCACAF, which is the teams in this region. But, I mean, I think that the big deal for U.S. soccer and what's happening now with the teams that's getting called in, you're starting to get a look at the players that are in the mix for the World Cup. And, the World Cup is what everybody's geared up for all the time. Like, that's what countries are working towards, is having success in the World Cup. So the group that just got called in, it's a lot of the big names, a lot of the heavy hitters, and a lot of the people that you would expect to see in the World Cup. And now it's kind of this group's opportunity to prove what they're capable of, and like really the first look that us fans have gotten at this group in like meaningful games, because like coming into this, because the tournament is being hosted in the U.S., you didn't have to see them play in World Cup qualifiers, which is like a big deal. Like World Cup qualifiers help you get prepared and it helps build the momentum. But because we didn't have to be in World Cup qualifiers this year, we haven't really gotten a good look at it. So this is the first real test. Anytime you're playing in CONCACAF, those types of games, like, it's not going to be as good as like if they were playing against England or a team from Europe. Like, it's just going to be a little bit more chippy, but It's a good opportunity to get a look at them. So that's exciting.
Okay, so who are you looking forward to seeing the most? What player, as far as on Team USA that they're going to roll out? Who are you looking forward to seeing representing us?
I mean, I know that this is like the most cliche thing in the world, but I want to see who's the goalie, honestly, because like there's Matt Freese, there's Matt Turner, there's different people that you wouldn't expect to be the USA's national team goalie that are all in the mix. So it's like I'm excited to see which goalkeeper is going to take the opportunity to run with it, because a lot of these guys are guys that weren't necessarily the chosen ones, but they've worked themselves into this position, which was like my dream. So now I'm watching other people live it out. So now it's just like you get to watch these people, and it's like, man, they really did it, So that's a pretty cliche answer, but I'm excited to see that. And then I think, of course, like the McKinneys of the world, Pulisic's of the world, like there's always fun to watch them, but I think really like this year it's more about, are we serious as a country about soccer? And this is the time to start figuring it out.
We're trying. I mean, we've tried. We're trying. We're keep. I mean, listen, I don't know about a country if we're serious about soccer, but in this city, in Tampa, we're serious about soccer.
We're pushing it, that's for sure.
We are. And so we got Jahmali. He's going to come in. We're going to talk about the home opener. Again, very excited. You can go to rowdysoccer.com to get your tickets. Gates open at 6:30. I'm excited. I've told everybody I know that I can hook them up and get them in. So a lot of people are excited about the first game of the year. So
no, I mean, I think that it's going to be a really cool night. Like, again, the team on the field is going to be good. The opponent's good. And the crowd, especially for the home opener, is going to be crazy. It's going to be rocking. So you're going to get your really taste of what rowdy soccer is and what it's like. And, hopefully the weather kind of holds up the way that it has been. It's a little bit chilly, but like it's kind of like it's the perfect mix of like chilly, but like right on the water. So I think it could be a really good night.
Can you soccer guys? Can you guys play in the cold or?
Man, brother, I played in the coldest game in MLS history, snowstorm.
Really?
Blizzard. Yes, it was crazy.
Was it Portland or where is it?
It was, I was playing for Portland, but it was in Colorado, blizzard, snowstorm. I looked like a character from Game of Thrones. It was nuts. It was crazy. It was truly nuts.
It was really the coldest game on record?
Yeah, I had like ice frozen to my hair at the end of the game, and we ended up tying, and I've told this story before. We ended up tying in the last like minute. We were up 3-2. They scored 3-3, and then you go back to the locker room, and you're thinking like, all right, the coach is going to be pretty chill about this. Like, we just got a tie. It was really cold. Like, what a miserable experience that was. We get back to the locker room, and he just ripped us a new one. So it was like terrible memories.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for okay, we prefer, like 75 degrees, but it has been a little bit cool. But it is nice to see that you can rise to the level, if it calls for that.
I mean, listen, you just got to deal with it. But it was very cold, and that's why I moved back to Florida.
Yeah, there'll be no icicles on anybody's head Saturday night. So at Al Lang, you don't have to worry about that at all. And so Jahmali will be out there. I'm excited to talk to him next.
Yeah, it should be a good interview. He's somebody that's had a very fun career when you follow him and, figuring out where his path and how he ended up on the Jamaican national team. I think that that's something that's really cool. And Jamaica has a history of some good goalkeepers, and there's, Ryan Thompson here from the area, who, if you're listening to this, you're from Tampa, you might be aware of. So going to see if there's a connection there, get to know him a little bit more. And, introduce him to the fan group the same way we did Marco. So it should be a good one.
Can't wait.
As promised, we have our guest for the week, Jahmali Waite. Welcome to the show, sir. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you coming into the set.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. So, obviously, like one of the things we just saw it this week, something very cool that you're doing, and just want to learn a little bit more about it. Tell the fans a little bit more about it. How people could be supportive as well. The Baker and Emily Maid Foundation. How did you get? You're just new into town.
Yeah.
So, how did you get linked up into that? Tell us a little bit more about it, and just I guess get the fans a little bit more insight and how they can help and different ways that can be contributed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always big on using this gift and the talent that I've been blessed with to give back to other people in every way I can, and that's something that Nico talked about coming in. Like we're always looking to do stuff in the community, and I think they had reached out to Nico and asked if I would be interested to do that, and I was like, oh yeah, for sure. Like I mean, Baker Mayfield himself is who he is, and to be a part of that foundation and to be able to have an impact in the community, just being here for a couple of months, it's amazing.
That's huge, man. Did you get to meet him yet?
Not yet.
No.
Hopefully,
is it on the list? Is it on the list of things?
Are you in a competition with other Tampa Bay athletes? Is that what this is?
Yeah. So it's 6 athletes, 3 from the Bucks,
okay,
1 from the Lightning, 1 from the Rays, and then me, and it's like tournament style pretty much. So
what's your strategy? Like, do you have a plan on how? You don't, do you?
No, I don't. You just
is it who can raise the most money out of that? Okay,
exactly.
Right.
So you go. I think I'm going up against one of the Bucks guys. I don't know which one, but it's basically head to head. Whoever raised the most money for their foundation moves forward. But regardless, if you don't move forward, your charity still gets whatever you get donated, plus I think it's $2,500
nice.
the first round. So
yeah, so like if you don't win, they're not going to be
exactly.
Like, all right, you get your money back. We're not going to donate it.
Exactly. They still get
right.
whatever money you get.
Well, nice. So if you're listening to this, let's help our guy. Let's help our guy win.
Yeah. How do we
donate money?
So you can do it through the Baker Mayfield Foundation or through After School All Stars, which is the charity I'm representing. On their page, just go with any of those and you can donate there.
Do you feel like you're gonna have to come out of pocket a little bit to make sure you have a good showing on this one? Have you thought about like selling Girl Scout cookies? You got to buy them all yourself, kind of deal.
I'm just trying to use social media in whatever way I can, post about it every day, and have my family repost it, and hopefully guys on the team as well, and just throwing it out there for everyone.
I do think it's impressive though that you have just been here a short time and you're already involved in charity. We were talking to Marco about it last week, and it's something that a lot of the Buccaneers do because obviously they're so high profile. But some of the greatest athletes that have been in Tampa Bay, Mike Evans just left. There's just been guys that cement themselves, that make this their home. And obviously you've been all over, and who knows where you can go next. But it's like when you get to a place, you want to try to make it your home. You're not like, hey, I might be out here in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And so that's the best way to do it, is to get involved in the community.
Right. No, definitely. I think, this career and this life, it's really hard to like find a home, really, like being on the road every time. Like you don't know how long you're going to be here, like you said. But I think it's super important for your mental health, and for guys like me who have families, like whenever you go somewhere, you try to make it a home, so get involved as much as you can and try to build a community around you. That's what it's all about.
That's huge, man. Well, kudos to you, dude. Honestly, like that's awesome, especially for the Rowdies to be involved in this and that we have representation and you're doing such a good job of it. I mean, it goes a long way, so it's massive, man. So congrats there. So we're going to transition a little bit into soccer career, into soccer, into life a little bit, and just get to know you a little bit more. You let the fans get to know you a little bit more. So you talk about the good for your mental health, good for the mentality, good for the mindset.
Yeah.
One of the things, obviously, as a goalkeeper, we could talk a little bit goalkeeper stuff, but we won't bore everybody. But one of the things I think as a goalkeeper, it's you've moved to clubs a little bit. Like this is your 3rd USL club, right? We went from Pittsburgh, Tulsa, now here. El Paso, that's my bad. So it's like, what is the mindset that you're coming into when you come into a team like the Rowdies where there's so many new players, but as a goalkeeper, that you got to be a leader of this group. Like what's the mindset when you're walking into a new locker room like that, but also with the understanding that, this is kind of a new group, everybody's kind of gelled together. And how have you kind of excelled in that leadership role? Because when you watch it on the field, I was watching a trainer today.
Yeah.
You're dictating, and guys are listening.
Yeah.
There's one thing about yelling where people don't listen, but then like guys were listening. So you're watching that. So like, what's kind of been your, I guess, strategy coming into this new group and taking that leadership role?
Yeah, I think a big thing is, for me personally, I think as a goalkeeper, you have to be a natural leader. Like that's something that comes with the position. But for me, it's like there's one thing with yelling at guys and another thing with communicating effectively, right? So I'm seeing everything. I'm seeing the whole game. Like, how can I make everyone else's job easier for them, which in turns make my job easier for me, right? Which
you want an easy day.
Exactly.
Like, you want to get action, but you want an easy day.
So
as
it's
well.
like I can prevent something by just communicating and, stopping that from ever turning into a dangerous chance or whatever. But obviously, that's not always going to work, and you got to be ready to make saves and make plays when that time comes. But yeah, I think we have a really good group of guys. Guys that have been around the championship and League One. I think guys that are hungry to win and want to succeed, which makes it easier for me, like communicating to those guys, because I know we've done stuff off the field to get to know each other, which helps a lot. I know who I'm dealing with. I know, okay, if this is Nate, I know how to talk to him in a way that he'll respond. Like, it can't be every time you're rah, rah, rah. There's times when, like, I need to pull you aside and be like, hey, maybe next time you do this instead of that, right?
Do you like having the tough conversations?
Yeah, I think it comes with the job, right? I think, and guys like to, guys want to get better.
Yeah.
So the conversation is good, but I think just learning new players and learning guys how they are on the field and off the field as well, and just to know each person and how can I talk to you effectively to make yourself better, to make me better, but also in a way that's not going to affect your performance mentally, right? Because like I said, mentally, that's the big part of it. So, it's having your brother's back and knowing when to knock someone down, knowing when, hey, you might need to be lifted up.
I think that's such a huge point. I love everything you just said about it, because you haven't been with this group a long time, and knowing how to speak to people as a leader, and like knowing, hey, like I can yell at this guy and that'll motivate him, but if I yell at this guy, he might put his head down and I might lose him for the whole game.
Yeah.
So just the fact that you've been able to do that so quickly, like with this group, I just think it's a huge testament to who you are as a leader. So I think that's just massive.
Appreciate that.
Are you in a whirlwind right now? We've got the home opener for the Rowdies Saturday, and then you're going to represent Team Jamaica on Sunday. Are you? Is this just another week in your life, or?
Yeah, I think I've been a part of the national team setup long enough where I try not to think about that too much. It's like, get through the week. We have a game on Saturday. For me right now, that's the most important thing, right? And then once that game is over, once that 90 minutes is done, then you move on to the next thing. But I think it's super important, not in just national team, but just in the day-to-day life, and even being here at the Rowdies, like we focus on what's right in front of us. So focus on the next game instead of thinking long-term. Like, obviously you want to win a championship, but how do you do that? It's the day-to-day, like the game. So take it one game at a time and not, get caught up in the long term. You're going to have stretches where we're winning, and it might be a rough stretch here and there where you might have lose a couple games, but how do you focus on the next game, and whether you need to turn it around and get a win, or whether you need to stay motivated to keep winning?
Jamaica's a country that has a history of good goalkeeping. Is there, like, what's to that? You know what I mean? Like, there's certain countries that have a history of good goalkeeping.
Yeah.
Like, you got a player like Andre Blank who's really led the way, I think, recently.
Yeah.
I read that you guys are close. You guys have ties. I saw that you went to UConn. He went to
Yeah.
UConn. The Philadelphia ties. Like, what kind of pushed you towards that position? And then really, like, what's the being a goalkeeper for Jamaica, like, what does that mean to you? Do you know what I mean? Like, what does that really, like, mean to you? Because it is a position that does have a rich tradition.
Yeah. I think, obviously, Andre Blake, he's paved the way, I think. I remember back when I was just starting out as a goalkeeper, like 15, 16, and I got
You started at 15?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was playing outside back at first. Like,
No way. Yeah. Okay.
But I got called up to the U17 national team, and the goalie coach there, which is well known around the goal. I think he was the goalie coach for Blake as well, but his name is Spider. But he was a great coach, but super intense. Like, he'll work you,
Yeah.
which is good. I think that's what we needed at that age. But I remember after one training session, he's like, "Yeah, you kind of remind me of Andre Blake." I didn't take anything to it really, but I think I was playing in Jamaica and then got recruited by the Philadelphia Union to go join their academy, which I think, obviously Andre was there and doing well, so they wanted to maybe try to get someone early, I think, to, try to build that. But went from there. I went to Fairleigh Dickinson for a couple of years and then ended up at UConn. I think people have always said that.
The pipeline. That's the pipeline.
I followed Andre Blake, but wasn't intentional, but that's just how my career kind of played out. And I think, even if that was intentional to do, I don't think it would have been a bad idea.
No, UConn's a powerhouse.
Yeah. Given what the guy has done in his career, and but yeah, I think when I was in the academy, I knew him. We had conversations, and he kind of steered me where I needed to go, and kind of motivated me a bit. But I think once I started playing for the national team, and being around him more, and day to day when we go to camp, I think me and him have developed a really good relationship where now, we're talking every day. We were just texting before I came in here. They're in Mexico right now, but we've developed a really good relationship where we help each other out. We can talk about stuff. I can send him clips. Hey, what do you think I should do here? Or we watch each other's games, and I think it's just good to have that kind of mentor that's been around the game. He said it, goalkeeping is a lonely position. So to have someone that's been there and done that and been through it in his career how he has, and to be able to have that to lean on and can talk to him and get advice from him and just learn from him, really, it's been amazing for my career. And just Jamaican goalkeeping, I think obviously I think it's super hard getting out of Jamaica, whatever position, and but for goalkeeping, I think obviously there's Andre, there's Ryan, like you mentioned, who I also, have a good relationship with. And then myself, I think there's really good goalkeepers in Jamaica. I think Joshua Grant is another guy I think he was a part of the Rowdies last year, and he was in the Red Bull setup. So, a really good goalkeeping pipeline. But hopefully, me personally, I can, have a good career and kind of pave the way for some of those younger guys like Andre and Ryan did for me.
Well, I think too, it's great. Obviously, it's great to have a mentor like Andre, and I'm sure he's done a lot of good things. But for you to start the position when you were 15, and then you're already on the national team when you're 17.
Yeah.
What was that like? What was the decision to transition to that position at that age? Because normally, because we talked about earlier, we joke about it all the time, where it's everyone says, "Oh, goalkeepers are crazy."
Yeah.
So you've already been influenced by people that are looking at goalkeepers and say "Oh, they're crazy," and you're like, "Nah, I want a part of that crazy."
I remember it was like a U15 club game where the goalkeeper didn't show up a game. And
it always starts with something weird. It always starts with something weird.
And I was
hope he was okay.
I was the tallest guy on my team.
Yeah,
so naturally,
hey, he's tall.
Yeah, and then I think I went to Chelsea and Valencia would have camps in Jamaica, and I went to a camp there, and I guess I did good. I got
must have.
The national team, the U17 national team coach was there, and he came up to me and talked to me, exchanged contacts, and I got the call up there, and I got invited to go to the next phase of the Valencia camp. So I think once I got that first call up for the national team, I was okay, maybe there is something here, I got to start taking this seriously. And that's kind of where it started.
Man, shout out that guy that didn't show up.
Yeah. Like I said, hope everything was okay.
Right, but man, shout out. That's a real MVP.
Yeah.
This isn't for me anymore. How did you grow up with four sisters?
Grew up with kind of three in and around the house.
Okay.
One lived elsewhere, and then two migrated with my dad to the U.S., and I stayed with my older sister back in Jamaica. But I grew up with cousins and a lot of family, but yeah, four sisters.
Man, how did they prepare you to be a professional when you were younger?
My sister back in Jamaica was my number one fan growing up. So she would come to every game. The soccer field was actually walking distance from where I lived, so she would walk with me to every game. She was the loudest on the sideline. My mom would never show up to a game. She was just, I was a goalie. She was just scared.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like you right now.
My daughter, please.
Yeah, my mom was, scared to show up to games, but my sister.
What would she yell at you? What?
She wouldn't yell at me.
Oh, not
she
you,
would yell at the opponent, the refs,
But you could hear her.
I could hear her. I know it's her. But yeah, she was, always loud, and now she's still in Jamaica, but she watches from afar and, still supports. And when I go back and I play national team, whether I'm on the field or on the bench, she is the loudest, screaming always. So yeah, it's just she's been there since day one, and it's good to see her still supporting right now.
That's awesome, man. So talking about your journey, right? The different teams, the college journeys, everything. What made you come to Tampa? Like, what was the thing? I think that Tampa's and I'm not just speaking this because like it makes me sound cool, but like I think Tampa's a club that has a history of good goalkeeping. You look at, Diego Restrepo, he did a good job here. He's the goalkeepers coach for the women's. I think he's in Man City now. You talk about the different goalkeepers. McCarthy, who came through here, he won an MLS Cup. There's been a lot of goalkeepers through here, and there's a good tradition of it. So what made you want to come here, and just kind of what does it mean to you to represent the club that's kind of had a rich history of the position?
Yeah. I mean, just outside of the goalkeeping, I think Tampa as a club, as like you said, you speak about the history, and I think just a historic club, well ran. Like, I think that's a place where players want to go, and so once they reached out, we had the conversation, and they. Dom and Dubba kind of laid out the plan, and I think for me personally and where I am in my career was a perfect fit for what I'm trying to achieve and where I'm trying to get to. And it's good to be a part of a club with such rich history, like you said, but also for me it's like I want to add to that. Like, how can I win? Like, how can I be, like you said, the next Jeff who go from here to the MLS, or Jordan Farr, who was just here recently? Like, how can I make that next step in my career? And I think this is a good place to kind of come here and get to work, and you get results, and good things happen from there.
That's awesome, man.
You're playing your former team this weekend.
Yeah.
Familiar with some of those guys there?
Familiar with a lot of those guys, yeah.
Is there be any talking during the game or anything like that? Or?
I mean, funny story, I told this a couple of times already, but in the off season, I'm based in Pennsylvania. So I go back there and train with John Bush in the off season.
John Bush,
I train at their facility. So
okay.
there were talks, about the second game of the season, and so I'm excited for that, and excited to. I mean, I think it's good for us as a team to second game of the season, first game at home, to be going against the defending champs. I think it'll be a really good game to kind of test and to show where we're at this time of the year. So yeah, it'll be good.
Now, I think you play a lonely position, and I'm just saying that because my daughter's playing. I don't know what to yell at her, so I don't yell anything at all. I just want to know, to me, because I feel like you're on an island sometimes. Can you hear people yell things at you, whether you make a great save or you let something slip by you? I mean, can you hear people when they're directing it at you, and does it ever faze you at all?
To be honest, I think I've played maybe in the beginning of my career, but I've played quite a few games now where I've learned to kind of tune that out almost. It's like outside noise doesn't really matter. Good. Whether it's the praise or whether it's them judging you, I think it doesn't matter, because the biggest thing is the next play. So whether you make a save or you get scored on, like, the next play is the most important thing. And I think as a goalkeeper, the worst thing you can do is to start stacking mistakes, because that affects you, it affects your team, and so for me it's like, regardless of whatever happens, like, always start from zero. Like, no matter what, if you concede a goal, you make a great save, like,
is that easier said than done, though? Because I mean, I feel like I don't know if we were off the air last week, but you were saying you would have a real hard time with that next play mentality.
Yeah, there are definitely moments. You know what I mean, depending on the magnitude of the mistake.
Yeah.
I always think that there's like, the conversation was that there's always that little bit of, like, what happened in the back of your mind.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you got to play through that, which I think builds a lot of character, but that's one of the harder mental sides of the goalkeeping position.
Yeah.
So, like, are you a little bit better at that than me?
I think, it's definitely easier said than done, but I think I've been around some, great personality. I talk about John Bush. I think I went through a spell in Pittsburgh where I struggled, and, he kind of helped me. I mean, I'm going to give this away because I don't really use it anymore, but at the time it was like, his thing is like, you see it as a shredder, like a paper shredder. So, like, whatever happened, like that mistake or that play, like, you put it in a shredder, it's shredded, and that's done with. Like,
but
now,
the pieces are still there.
I mean, now, listen, you shred the paper, it's
okay, all right.
That's it.
What if I have tape? What if I have tape?
You can't tape it back, like, it's done with, because no matter how much you think about it, you're never going to be able to go back and make that play again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love that mentality. And
yeah,
like,
it's
Bushy. I mean, we could go on and on. We could turn this into a goalkeeper podcast, but I don't think everybody would enjoy that as much.
I'm
like,
into it.
Yeah, Bushy. I mean, Bushy. It seems like you've had great people surrounding you in your career as well, though, because like we talk about the mental side of goalkeeping and having people that have done it and lived through it and share those experiences at the hard times too.
Yeah.
That's so important. And you've been surrounded by people that have done that for you. So like, I love that mentality of the shredder, but so I would
You didn't have it at all?
No, I mean, like, I would probably shred like half of it.
Yeah.
And then like if the team scored and got it back, the rest of it went to the shredder. But like until
it's kind of like you need something good to happen after that in order for it to be completely
shredded.
gone. Yeah.
Yep. That's a big part of it.
Sense, yeah.
So before we bring my daughter, because she's got a question for you, I just want to know, how have you kind of been getting to know the Tampa Bay, St. Pete area? Have you been out and about? What do you like to do? I know you guys are kind of off this week.
Yeah.
What do you got to do when you get into a new town to kind of, familiarize yourself with it?
My wife is big on exploring. So, I mean, we love going game day. We love going to get coffee. So we've been, what's it called? Coastal, I think.
Okay.
Coastal. It's like right here. I can't.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm blanking on the name,
Have you
but
been
it's
to
like
Kawa at all?
Kawa,
okay.
big shout out Kawa, team sponsor.
Yeah. So you're a coffee guy. Okay, so that's like
yeah. So go and walk. I mean, we're close to Midtown, so we walk to Midtown. We go to coffee, like just walking around. I have a little guy now, so we'll go to the beach, take him there, and Saturdays when we don't have a game, we go to the Saturday market. Just fresh fruit and all that is good. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, just trying to find little stuff to do here and there. I don't think there's so much to do here that I don't think you can try to fit it all in one. So it's just, that's a good thing about being here is there's always something new to try.
There's always something to do, especially coming to the Rowdies game on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
That should be the main thing that people are
I
thinking about.
can't wait. Bring in the whole family.
Yeah. So just one question before we get the heavy hitter up here to ask you the hard question. I asked Marco this last week as well, but a lot of new players, fans are getting to know you guys. Fans are getting to know this group. How do you view this group? What can the fans expect from this group on Saturday and just in the season in general as you guys are building towards big things?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, the coaching staff, I mean, they've done a really good job of bringing in not just good guys, but I think a good team as well. Like I said, guys that are hungry and want to win. And I think we've also done a good job in preseason of making sure that, we do stuff outside, off the field as well that you're not going to be able to get to know everyone at training. So, we've spent time together. We've had lunch together every day. We do stuff, barbecues, invite the families, like just stuff like that you get to know each other, you get to know the families. And I think, like, it makes it so much easier, like playing for someone, fighting someone when you know their story, you know what they've been through, like, you know that person, not only on the field, but off the field as well. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing we have riding for us right now is just guys that are hungry, guys that want to fight for each other, guys that, have each other's back. And I think to expect from us on the field, we're going to be relentless. We're never going to give up. And, we're always going to want to play our style of football. Our big thing this year is Rowdies first. So, the teams come first, no matter what. You're playing, you're not playing, like whatever role you have as a player, like how can you always make sure that you put the team first? And, that's the priority this year.
I love it, man. I love the fight, but you got to keep yourself in goal a little bit more, bro. Everyone was talking about that a little bit. I love that you're getting into the fight, but keep yourself back there a little bit. All right, so we have a heavy hitter.
All right.
First year goalkeeper.
Yeah, she started playing goalie because she didn't like running.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Smart.
I didn't know if that's how a lot of people find goalie. But,
or they find it by people not showing up to practice.
Yeah, not showing up. So they put her in. She hadn't played soccer at all, and earlier, goals would go right by her and stuff like that. So they were playing a team the last game of the year that beat them 6-1 two times, and they were playing them the last game of the year, and it was 0-0. And they put Sammy in the second half, and they were down on her end the whole time. Saved every single shot. They ended up winning 1-0. And so, what do they call you now? The Wall? They call you the Wall?
The Great Wall of Sammy.
They call it the Great Wall of Sammy.
That is an amazing name.
Now we're looking to maximize, that performance. So she has a question for you. Go ahead and jump in there.
What are pro tips?
You want pro tips?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest, like I said, I mentioned it before, it's just, never too high, never too low. Like, I mean, you're the Great Wall of Sammy now, so you're making saves, but that's not always going to happen. There's going to be times when, you get scored on and maybe people will see it as a goal that you should have saved, but it's just always keeping a level head. You know what you can do. I mean, you've done it before against a team that beat your team 6-1. So you know what you can do as a player, and you always have that to turn back to, but just being confident in your ability. And I think especially for your age, it's just working hard every day and just having fun. That's the biggest thing for me, is to make sure you never lose that joy. I always, whenever I'm going through a hard time, it's always, how do I get to that joy that I always felt, playing the game as a kid, when it wasn't a job or your life pretty much depended on it. How can I get back to that joy and, feeling that joy and being happy with just playing the game every day.
Does that work? Is that a good tip?
That's a great tip. That's a great tip. All right. Rowdies this Saturday, Al Lang, Pittsburgh. Thank you for being here. And we're all cheering for Jamaica as well. We got to cheer for Jamaica as well. That's big time. Thank you for being here, man. Good luck.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Yeah, for sure. All right. Thank you, brother.